Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasura Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasura Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Girivardhari Jashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sri Radha Madhava ki jai, Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Jaja Shodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Jaja Shodhara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Karantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samveda Bhakti ki jai, Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So this morning we have the good fortune of being together and reading from the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 19, text 10, and if you have spiritual vision, you'll see 11 on the board right here. Who can see it? Okay, we all have work to do, but it's there. It's coming. It's coming. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Suresh, were you in class yesterday? What was one thing you got from yesterday? Who gave class yesterday? Let's start with that one. Dravida Prabhu. And what's one thing you got from yesterday's class? What's one thing you got from yesterday's class? You weren't in class. Okay, so you didn't. You okay yesterday? Okay, here it comes. I'm just stalling. Were you in class yesterday? Yes. Yes. Were you all alone yesterday? You weren't here either? So this is text 12?
Yeah. 11 doesn't have a purport.
Okay, that's right. That's what we're reading today. 11 and 12, and 12 will stop with the purport. Pasyam? Okay. So this is the first text. I'll read just the translation. So this is Vamanadev speaking to Bali Maharaj about Hiranyakashipu. Upon seeing that the residence of Lord Vishnu was vacant, so he's a pretty powerful personality, he can actually go to the Vaikuntha planet in this universe. Hiranyakashipu began searching for Lord Vishnu everywhere. Angry at not seeing him, Hiranyakashipu screamed loudly. Does anyone want to imitate that? Don't, just, okay, he was very upset. And searched the entire universe. Now he was angry. Why?
He killed his brother.
Yeah. So it was like that. And searched the entire universe, including the surface of the earth, the higher planetary systems, all directions, and all the caves and oceans. But Hiranyakashipu, the greatest hero, did not see Vishnu anywhere. And in today's verse, Apasyan iti uvacha Mayan Vishtam idam jagat bratri ha me gato nunam yato navartate puman pasyaniti hovacha Mayan Vishtam idam jagat bratri ha metako nunam Yato na vartate puman apasyaniti hovacha mayan vishtamidam jagad bratri me kato lunam yato na vartate puman Pasyaniti hovacha Mayan Vishnamidam Jagad Bhatriha me kato nunam Yuto na vartate puman. Anyone like to chant? Pasyaniti hovacha
Apasyaniti hovacha
Paniti hovacha
Mayan Vishnamidam jagat Bratri ha me gato nunam Yato na vartate puman.
Anyone else present or in the ether? Yovacha Vishtam Idam Jagat Pratirihame Katalunam Yato Navartate Puman Apasyan
Apasyan niti hovacha
Apasyaniti Hovacha
mayan vistamidam jagat
Mayan Vishtam Idam Jagat
bratriha megato nunam
Pratirihame Katonunam
jato navartate puman.
Yato Navartate Puman. Anyone else? Apasyan. Not seeing him. E.T. in this way. Ha uvacha. Uttered. Maya. By me. Anvishtam. Has been sought. Idam. The whole. Jagat. Universe. Bhatriha. Lord Vishnu, who killed the brother. Me. My. Gataha. Must have gone. Nunam. Indeed. Yata. From where? Na. Not. Avartate. Comes back. Puman. A person. Unable to see him, Hiranyakashipu said, I have searched the entire universe, but I could not find Vishnu, who has killed my brother. Therefore, he must certainly have gone to that place from which no one returns. In other words, he must now be dead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Atheists generally follow the Buddha philosophical conclusion that at death, everything is finished. Hiranyakashipu, being an atheist, thought this way. Because Lord Vishnu was not visible to him, he thought that the Lord was dead. Even today, many people follow the philosophy that God is dead. But God is never dead. Even the living entity who is part of God never dies. Najayate mriyate va kadachit. For the soul there is never birth or death. This is the statement of Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 20th verse. Even the ordinary living entity never takes birth or dies. What then is to be said of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the chief of all living entities? He certainly never takes birth or dies. Ajopi son of Ayatma, 4th chapter of the Gita, 6th verse. Both the Lord and the living entity exist as unborn and inexhaustible personalities. Thus, Hiranyakashipu's conclusion that Lord Vishnu was dead was wrong. As indicated by the words, Yato Navartate Puman, there is certainly a spiritual kingdom, and if the living entity goes there, he never returns to this material world. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 9th verse, Twakto deham punarjanma naitimam etiso Arjuna. Materially speaking, every living entity dies. Death is inevitable, but those who are karmis, jnanis, and yogis return to this material world after death, whereas bhaktas do not. Of course, if a bhakta is not completely perfect, he takes birth in the material world again, but in a very exalted position, either in a rich family or a family of the purest Brahmins, Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe, just to finish his development in Krishna spiritual consciousness. Those who have completed the course of Krishna consciousness and are free from material desire return to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yad Gadva Nativartante Tadhamma Paramam Mama, Bhagavad Gita 15:6. Here, the same fact is stated, Yato Navartate Puman. Any person who goes back home back to Godhead does not return to this material world. Om Agyantimirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Minitam Dinatasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchagapadrubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Bodhidhanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So by your ardent prayers and desires, I'll try to say a few words. So, it begins by talking about this philosophy that at the end of life everything is finished, and Hiranyakashipu's statement that as far as he could see, God was dead because he couldn't find him anywhere. He couldn't find Vishnu anywhere. And Prabhupada would comment on that expression, as far as I can see. Prabhupada would say, well, how far can you see? How far can you see? You know, what's the value of our eyes? People say, show me God, but maybe you can't see. There's so many things in this world we can't see. Can you see your mind? I can see your mind. No, you can't see your mind, but it's there. You can't see it with these eyes. There's so many things. So this idea that God is dead because we can't see him, and Prabhupada refers here that there's a philosophy that God is dead. It's attributed to Nietzsche, who's a German philosopher of sorts, and actually there was a group of prior to him, during his time, and after him, German philosophers who were very enthusiastic about this idea that God is dead. But it's interesting, if you study it, he was pretty much referring to Christianity. And his point that any intelligent person looks at the theology of Christianity, it just doesn't make any sense at all. So as far as for the Christian, God must be dead. It's just like there's no point in that theology at all. The whole idea of atonement and this and that, and it just didn't make any sense. So that was his this great dissatisfaction with Christian theology is where that comes from. And people's search for God is pretty much over because of that. It's interesting also, he did say that if there was a God, it would be a God who dances. You know Kalakanta's book, A God Who Dances? He has a very wonderful book, Torchlight, we published quite some years ago. And it's he brings up that point that, well, guess what? We have a God that dances. So it's too bad we didn't have any book distributors back then at the time of Nietzsche. We couldn't give him a book about Krishna. But he said, if there is a God, it must be a God who dances. Well, he hit it right on the nose there. Krishna dances. There it is, the rasa dance, the perfection of all dancing. So, but this idea that God is dead, because as far as I can see, he doesn't seem to be there to me, just like Hiranyakashipu. He looked everywhere, all over the universe. He couldn't find God, so the conclusion is, well, God must be dead. So one has to ask themselves is, how good is our perception of things? And do we even know what we're looking for? Did you see Mr. McGillicuddy at the feast yesterday? How do you know? Do you know who Mr. McGillicuddy is? So you wouldn't know if you saw him or not. Right? So you say, I didn't see God, but who's God to say whether you saw him or not? You must know who God is if you say, I don't see him anywhere. He's not here. Right? So who's God? Oh, I don't know. Well, then how can you say you didn't see him? He could be right in front of you. So it's quite a logical statement. Unless you know who God is, how can you say he's not here or he's gone? Okay? Now, Hiranyakashipu knew who he's looking for, and in a previous verse it said the Lord Vishnu entered his nostril right into his heart. Just like for the time being, let's just like that, go into his heart. That's super soul. So Prabhupada's making some points here about different verses in the Bhagavad Gita. But another example is given, just like the sun, it disappears right here, 3 blocks away, every night. You see the sun disappearing and Sankashan splashing in the waves, right? Right? So every night you can see it happening. So the sun goes down and it seems to disappear. But we know it doesn't disappear. It just kind of is out of sight for us because the rotation of the world and the movement of the sun and the earth. It just, to us, it's gone, but it's not gone. It hasn't ceased to exist. So that example is given also, just like the sun. So we're eternal, according to the Bhagavad Gita. Najayate mriyate vakata chinnayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya. You know that verse, Sankarshan? Okay, spruce up on your Bhagavad Gita, okay? It's a very important verse. Soul is eternal, ever existing, undying, primeval. It never is coming to, it's just nahanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body dies, it doesn't die. So that's the nature of spirit. So the Supreme Spirit must also never die. In fact, there's a difference. Also, our body dies, but Krishna's body never dies because there's no difference between Krishna and his body. His body is eternal, and that's pointed out here. This other verse that's quoted is Ajopi son of Ayatma Bhutana Ishwarapi son Prakatimatishtaya Sambhavami Atmamaya. Krishna says, by my internal potency I appear. Although I am unborn and ever existing, still I come to this world. Yuge Yuge is the next verse. But he says, by my internal potency I appear in this world. The self-same body. It's completely transcendental. It never dies. Is this here, this purport? Another purport. Prabhupada's making the point, it's one of these purports, I think, how Krishna was on this planet for 125 years, but he never looked older than 16, somewhere in there, right? A youthful. Was it Jayanta was here a few weeks ago at lunch? You know Jayanta? To know Jayanta is to love Jayanta. And he was telling me he's a great-grandfather. Oh, Hare Krishna. How does he look? He doesn't look like he's 20, 25 years old. And Krishna had so many children and grandchildren. Did he have great-grandchildren also at that time? Or at least grandchildren at the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra. 125 years, but ever youthful. Navayovanam. His body never becomes old. So that's Krishna's position. Sometimes, here Krishna's letting Hiranyakashipu think that he's gone. Krishna many times will satisfy the demons with what they want. Okay, you want to think that I'm dead or don't exist? And that's the Moshe Lila. And that was brought up in class a few weeks ago. Remember you brought up that we're talking about Jesus Christ and on the cross and this and that. So, in our books, Krishna disappeared. He died. He was shot in the foot by a hunter and so on. But it's interesting. Krishna's on the battlefield of Kurukshetra taking all these arrows right in front of Arjuna, as a chariot driver. And then somehow we think he can die because a little arrow touched his heel. And there's so many inconsistencies in the idea that he was shot and killed. But that Moshe Lila, Prabhupada says, the whole reason that Lila is there just to satisfy the atheist. Okay, yeah, he doesn't exist. Because he got all upset. Wait a second. Krishna's eternal. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I got to surrender to him. I don't like this. Give me some ammunition. Give me something I can work with. So Krishna said, here's something you can work with. My Moshe Lila. He died. Forget everything else before that. Forget the battle of Kurukshetra. Forget all of his pastimes in Vrindavan and what all the great sages say and what Arjuna said. Forget the universal form is manifest. Forget all that. Just put all that out of your mind. Look, see, he got shot by a hunter. He died. He's not God. Krishna's given something to go on. So that's the atheist. In this first verse of the verse, this pasyati, right? Or what is that? A pasyan. Was that pasyati? Pasyati na pasyati. Is that how it goes? They see but they don't see? Yeah, pasyati na pasyati. They see but they don't see. In the second canto there's a verse about the materialists. They see but they don't see. It's referring to the passing of time and death and so on. They see but they don't see. Just like when someone tells you to do something, you go, I hear you, but they never do it. So did they ever actually hear you, Sankarshan? No, they didn't. Sankarshan, can you stand up, please? And then did you hear me? I heard you, but we don't do anything. So we didn't really hear. So we see but we don't see, we hear but we don't hear. Interesting, isn't it? So, Janma karma chame divyam. If Krishna isn't a transcendental personality, how is this verse in the Bhagavad Gita real? Because it says, just by understanding Krishna's transcendental position, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha, that you actually, at the time of death, you never come back. You become liberated. Just from understanding the personality of Krishna. So how could Krishna be a mundane person? We can study mundane people till the cows come home. People do that. It's called history, or what do they call it? Tabloids, those magazines, the cash. Do they still have those tabloids? No, they do. All these magazines, the front of every magazine, some personalities there. Who's ever famous this month, or infamous, right? And they study the personality. He did this, she did that, blah, blah, blah. They're wealthy, they're poor, they're, whatever. And but does anyone become liberated by studying? Do you think you're being liberated by studying Trump? Huh? Or even George Washington, or Mr. Burla, or any of these personalities? Or give me a rock and roll star you used to follow, or still do. Kiss. I don't think you're going anywhere except where, by studying them, right? Maybe, right? So, but you don't get liberated. You don't get liberated. But somehow or other, this personality, Krishna, if you understand his janma and his karma, divyam, which are divine, you actually go back. You go back home, back to Godhead. You never come back here again. So it's quite. So what's going on here with Hiranyakashipu is just Krishna's arrangement to frustrate him. And actually increase his anger, because this is a Leela where Krishna wants him so angry, just so angry. So when it all ends with the meeting of Lord Nrsingadev, it's worth repeating, right? It just captures everyone. So angry, he's so angry, and guess what? Lord Nrsingadev is very angry too. I mean, two really, really angry people fighting, that's a good fight, right? If someone's not angry and, hey, come on, let's do that. But it's like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to rip your head off, I'm going to rip your head off. And they just go at it. It's like, whoa, we can sell a lot of tickets to this one. This is good stuff, right? Because you can't fight unless you're angry. You can't. Right? You can't fight unless you're angry. So Hiranyakashipu, Lord Vishnu wanted to stir up as much anger and hate in his heart as he possibly could. Why? Because he wanted a good fight, right? Prabhupada would say sometimes, mention it's a historical fact that kings sometimes would wrestle. And it's not so easy to wrestle with a king, because you hurt him, they probably get your head chopped off. But he made allowances because he wanted to have someone, everyone's offering service. In fact, there's a place in Versailles, Italy, that beautiful Versailles of the Louis kings and so on. But there's a special garden there apparently, and the king would go there to wrestle. And he'd love that, because he's just like, no one's thinking me as the king and this and that, and just have it out and fight and have a good time like that. And sometimes he got hurt, but that's great. He wants someone to fight with, because he was a king. He wants someone to fight with. So in the same way, this Leela, we hear the Leela, the demons come to this world because Krishna wants to fight with someone. He has that desire to fight, but he doesn't want someone who's a pushover. He wants someone who's really nasty, really powerful, and that's the Leela. That's the pastime of these Jai and Vijay's 3 births. Powerful demon, angry, very upset. How did he get him upset according to these verses? He killed his brother. Just killed his brother. How would you feel if someone killed your brother in cold blood? You'd be pretty upset. Just someone just came and killed you. You'd be so angry and call the police and this and that, and maybe even go after him yourself. I don't know about you. Now you're a sadhu, but you can understand someone kills your brother, someone's very, very dear to you, that right off the bat. And then Prahlad takes birth, his little tiny boy, and he's like talking truth to him, like, you're a demon, Dad. You should give up your demonic mentality. It's like, oh, so angry. So it's just perfect, just bringing it right up to that point of busting out of the pillar and having a really good fight. Really good fight. So that's what's going on here. That's why he disappeared. So where is he? Where is he? So, 23. Now, why couldn't Hiranyakashipu see him? That's that verse, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samabritaha. They can't see me, they can't understand me because of this curtain of Maya, Yoga Maya Samabrita. There's a curtain there and we can't see it. Now what is that curtain? It's the curtain of material desire. As soon as there's a desire to enjoy in this material world, the curtain goes up. We can't see Krishna because Krishna is the enjoyer. He's the bhokta. He's the competition. So Krishna says, okay, I'll disappear. You want to enjoy in the material world? It's impossible, but let's give it a try. What is that? Complete sammoham, complete illusion. Krishna's very good at illusion. Sammoham, perfect illusion, creates it. It's unbelievable that in the spiritual world, they're looking down in the material world. How can these people forget Krishna? He's so wonderful and beautiful and everything, and then we're here just like he's nowhere around to be seen. I don't see him. And I'm just preoccupied with our desire to enjoy. And if we do believe in God, He assists us in our enjoying. God becomes an assistant to us to enjoy. Dear Lord, give us this day our daily bread. Give us this, gimme, 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 gimme. Right? Dehi, dehi, dehi. Is that what they say in Sanskrit? There you go. Not that you chant that, right? But we're always, even if there is a God, He's meant to help me in my enjoyment in the material world of forgetting Him. What a position we're putting Krishna in. Isn't it amazing? Unbelievable. So, but that's what's going on. And Krishna is very kind. Okay, I'll just disappear. Go ahead, try. Go ahead and try it. It won't work, but to facilitate, It's getting late. Abhajanti mam mudha manusim tanamasritam. That's another verse too. That's referred to here. That the foolish, the mudhas, that's who can't see Krishna. Foolish people, they can't see Krishna. That's Krishna's arrangement. And it's interesting, Prabhupada turns the Sanskrit around, because in the very beginning, Hiranyakashipu is saying, something, I think Vishnu went to that place from which no one ever comes back. Now the atheists think at the time of death, what that means is, you just become fertilizer. It's gone. You cease to exist, whatever that chemical reaction was, which we call consciousness and life, and death, it just goes out. It's like extinguishing a lamp. It's gone. Right? So there's no coming back. There's no coming. He's gone. He's gone now. He's gone. Just like Guru Krishna Prabhu. I think today is the funeral for his father. He sent me a text last night. Vrindavan's performing it. Like that. So his father passed away a few days ago. He's gone. Right? Gone. So the materialist thinks gone forever. Just you live on as a memory, right? A photo book. You live on in what do you call that? The cloud. All those photos, like that. You're a memory, like that. Sometimes, if you're a really important person, they name streets after you, right? Highways, bridges, buildings, civic centers. All kinds of, if you're really important, they'll name it after you. Then later on, they find you actually were a criminal. They'll take the name off the building, right? Later on, it's, better take the name off that, right? So, but that's how it is. That you're just a memory. That's all that's left of you. You're a memory. That's all. So, but actually, Bhagavad Gita says just the opposite. That the soul when the soul is pure, it goes to that place and you never come back. That's the spiritual world. Tad-dhamma paramam mama. You go to that tad-dhamma, that spiritual world, and that's where you never come back from. Because in the material world, you come back. What's the name of the book you distribute every day? Yeah, coming back. We all come back. Right? We're going to come back. The Christians have an expression for it. What is that? Born again. Right. Yeah, we're all born again and again and again and again and again until we become completely pure. We're born again. The soul keeps coming back. That's just the nature of life in this material world. So there was one thing I wanted to, it's getting late, but there's another whole aspect of not being able to see Krishna. And that's sometimes in spiritual circles or religious circles, it's known as the dark night of the soul. You ever hear of that expression? The dark night of the soul. When even a religious or spiritual person doubts the presence of God in their life. Where's God? And there are many different stories in our literatures and literatures all over the world. I think the one in the Bible was it Job? He really doubted the existence of God because everything went wrong. Is there really a God? Because everything is going wrong. What are you doing to me? I'm your devotee. And so, and even Mother Teresa was a recent saintly person, highly respected. After she passed away, in her memoirs, they found out that she went through a very difficult time in her life, doubting the existence of God, just doubting whether there's God there. So why is it that Krishna sometimes will disappear from the devotees' vision or, faith? Why is that there? Because it happens. Just like we know the story of Narada Muni, when he left, he was meditating in the forest and Lord Vishnu was in his heart and came right in front of him and then just disappeared. And he's like, what happened? What happened? And Lord Vishnu spoke to him and said, the reason I'm disappearing from you right now is to increase your Krishna consciousness, your desire to have me. That separation, the feelings of separation are so intense, it'll increase your Krishna consciousness because you need to make some more advancement. So that's our understanding, is that when Krishna disappears from us, we just don't seem to... Krishna wants to increase our Krishna consciousness, wants us to call out even with more feelings of helplessness and need, like that. Because sometimes you may be proud, I'm a pretty good devotee, I'm pretty Krishna conscious. Well, Krishna says, yeah, really? Think so? I need some work. So we all need some work. So that's how devotees see that. And even the gopis, there's a very famous verse I was reading the other day, when Krishna was telling the gopis, the reason, I disappeared is simply to increase your love and affection for me, those feelings of separation. Because in separation, you actually, you could say your love for the beloved is even more intense, right? What do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So absence, so when Krishna disappears, see it as, oh, Krishna's so kind, he's just doing this to increase my devotion. And even though it seems very dry, all of a sudden we have no taste or very little taste for chanting. What do? I'm sick of this Hare Krishna stuff. This chanting japa, I can't, no taste. No, Krishna's so kind, he's teaching me how to go even deeper and deeper and deeper into my chanting and my Krishna consciousness. So that's how a devotee sees sometimes Krishna is not present in front of us. We don't feel him. So Christians think, oh, Krishna's really kind. Now he's asking me to become even more Krishna conscious, and he's helping me to do that. So that's how we should feel at those times when it appears to be the dark night of the soul. It's actually Krishna being very, very kind to us. Quickly increase our Krishna consciousness. So it's 8:32. It's time for the hook. Are there any questions or comments on any of these topics? Yes, Govardhan Das Brahmachari.
Hare Krishna. I met these two Christian Matajis. And then one of them said, we studied Krishna. And I said, he's not God. He died from getting shot in the foot. And then, like you mentioned, I said, have you read the Mahabharata? There were these nuclear weapons aimed at him. He was getting shot. And then she said, no. And then I told them, this is exactly why Krishna performed this pastime, is for the atheists.
Like you two.
Yeah. And then, but long story short, the conversation was very pleasant. And then one of them, she said, I apologize if I harbored any ill feelings towards you. I didn't know what to expect talking to you. And then one of them took SSR. Because I said there's a very nice chapter. It says understanding Krishna and Christ. And this will bridge the gap, the misunderstanding between.
There you go. Hare Krishna. Anything else, or we're going to end with a Sankirtan story? Dravida Prabhu.
One comment on this God is dead, statement.
Oh yeah.
It's not, it's not literally that he was saying, oh, God was alive and now he's dead.
Right.
For these guys, God was never alive. But he was talking about how in the modern era, the existentialism and all the things, you know, that the understanding of God as a reality in people's lives was finished.
Yeah, there's no need
You know,
for it.
Yeah, and so that's the idea. Not that somehow he keeled over and died. You know, it's not
It
like
was never there.
it was never there.
Or if it was something impersonal. Was Nietzsche the one who, there's some of these philosophers, they were very adamant about being atheists, but at the end of their life, they called for priests at the side of their bed and so on. Just, who was there? There was another French philosopher like that.
Well, Nietzsche, nasty Nazi Nietzsche. That's what he was. Because a lot of his philosophy was incorporated by the Nazis.
Yeah. There you go. So, we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.